This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
Looking for your best sleep ever? Sleep Number smart beds are literally made for you. They adapt to your changing needs. So whether you're dealing with sore muscles or running hot at night, your bed automatically adjusts for optimal comfort. Want softer, firmer, cooler, warmer? With personalized firmness settings and temperature control that cools up to 20 times faster than leading competitors, you'll get the perfect sleep environment every night. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? So you can choose your ideal comfort on either side. And now it's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event, up to 50% off, limited time, exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. See store or sleepnumber.com for details.
This is Ricey. You've been hearing my friend Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, for years on the radio and Garage Logic podcast. With the new year approaching, I strongly recommend you sit down with Josh for your no-cost, no-obligation, 48-minute consultation on your investments, including your IRA and 401k. You can benefit from Josh's years of experience navigating different market and economic conditions, and he'll always give you straight talk and not sugar-coated advice. Give Josh a call now at 952-925-5608 to book your no-cost, no-obligation 48-minute consultation. That's 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did, and tell him Ricey sent you. Don't forget to ask, why is it 48 minutes, Josh?
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Patrick Ricey is a paid endorser. Well, I'm trying to hear the song.
Yes, sir.
I have NBA questions.
Here is an NBA. You have become an NBA maven. Let's go here.
Well, you know that I've always studied the game.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Studied those last 2 minutes.
What
like
did you
the rest
write
of us.
Sunday? What percentage of points can be attributed to the officials?
About 25%.
25%. Here's one question.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Booker was getting away with mayhem last night.
Yeah.
Okay, just let me ask the question.
Yes, okay. I just was confirming that.
When that happens, why doesn't someone on the opposing team also equal that mayhem? In other words, if you see the officials, it's highly subjective.
Yes,
letting him get away with it, why don't you then get away with it?
Now, what do you feel he was getting away with? He did
mugging.
He did mug somebody under the basket. I think it was Cat who didn't whine. Cat and he played together, by the way. They were both freshmen at Kentucky. Yeah, and big buddies, but he did mug him, and then they ran down to the other end of the court, and they called a foul on the Timber. That was when Rudy got called for the tip, touching a guy. But he got the benefit of a pretty good whistle, but he also was great last night. He scored 49 points.
Yeah, he wasn't. We have a great guy, Edwards.
Yes.
Okay. I can't take it. This fouling is so subjective.
Oh, yes,
it's
it is.
so arbitrary.
Mm-hmm.
They have too much power.
Yes, but if you called everything, we'd still be sitting there waiting for the game.
They have to do something about this. You can't call everything, and you can't call nothing. So what are you going to tell me? They're doing the best they can?
Yes, that's what I'm going to call you.
All right.
And if I think it's the worst job in America because there's nobody. You can be working in a sweatshop in China and you don't get bitched at as much as an NBA referee does. You could have the worst job in America. You're a 12-year-old in a sweatshop. It's a better job than being an NBA ref. You get paid, but I can't believe how much they put up with because everybody as they're getting ready to shoot the free throws, there's always somebody over there talking to the ref, telling him how he screwed up. Right?
The other thing I was going to say is we had no evidence based on the first 3 games, that Phoenix could beat them. No evidence whatsoever.
Oh, well.
There were 3 blowouts.
Yeah, in the third quarter, they became blowouts. They physically beat them, but Phoenix made all their shots the first half. They got 82 points from Durant and Booker.
Okay, what I was going to say then, that there was no reason they should have lost last night, which they did not. They did not lose.
Well, there was a reason. Because their 2 best players got 82 points. That's why.
Okay, but that wasn't
their 2
enough.
best players
wasn't enough.
But they stifled them defensively the first 3 games. They did not stifle them defensively last night. They let them score in well into the hundreds.
Why?
Well, because they played, they made their shots. The big tiebreaker in all basketball, Joe, as you saw in the first half, they made shots and the Timberwolves didn't.
That's right.
Ant was 2 for 8 in the first half, and then he comes out and starts raining in 3-pointers and went crazy. So that's, it's like everything else. Like the goaltender in hockey. Why didn't we score any goals? The guy kept getting in the way. Yep. In basketball, we didn't make shots, and then we did make shots. So.
I've never seen a coach get knocked down like that.
And we will not see him in front of the bench during the playoffs.
You have. You'll recall years ago, Mike Tice.
I don't recall that.
He was I think we were at the old Giant Stadium, and he got knocked out. But to his credit, he got right back. He blew everything out, the ACL, the MCL, the everything. But he stood on the sideline for the rest of the game, and then went and got the crutches.
Do you have some late news that you're telling me we're not going to see him in the playoffs?
Have surgery on the patella.
So put him in a chair.
It's basketball, Joe. You cannot have a guy with crutches standing in a 1 foot wide area.
They have to walk around.
Yeah, yeah. They have to. They
got a point.
Yeah, they're not going to take all those people who are paying $2,000 to sit on the sideline and tell them we all got to move back for this guy. He is supposedly they're gonna have to find an area behind the bench where he can stretch out his leg. So you're going to have to take away a couple of seats where he can stretch out his leg because he's going to have this surgery. And the patella, the tendon.
See, if he sat on the bench and stretched out his leg, Larry David would trip over it.
Yes, right. That's exactly it. Yes. This would be a good Curb Your Enthusiasm. So
what Joe wants to do,
the other guy will be in front of the bench, and then he'll be consulting.
The other guy will do the pointing and the pacing.
Yes.
No, what you want to do is much like what you did with the CP. You just wheeled her up when she was sick, so you can make pepper
steak. Get you a nice chair and tell me what to do.
That's
now
right.
Tell me this.
I don't think they're going to be able to wheel him out from behind the chairs and even in during the. So maybe the timeout huddles are going to have to be over.
Oh, true.
Over in front of him.
No, they don't play at least for a week.
Saturday would be the earliest. If Denver wins Tuesday, they'll play Saturday.
I thought Denver played tonight.
I thought they played Tuesday.
Denver plays tonight.
Tonight? Oh, okay. Then they'll play. Then they won't play till Saturday.
Lakers in Denver, 9 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
Okay. If Denver wins tonight,
they'll play Saturday.
Saturday at Denver.
Yes. First tour, Denver.
Will he even be able to make that trip?
Oh, yeah. He'll be on the trip. He'll be something. They'll load him up with
Isn't the patella your kneecap?
Yes.
That's not
a bad one. That's because it's behind that kneecap, I believe.
Larry David tripping over.
That's what they ended up deciding that was wrong with Buxton, was he had the tendonitis was behind the patella there, and somehow they did some surgery and went in there and cleaned it up to this point. But
I'm not quite ready to go to the Twins yet. Do you?
No, I didn't want to go to the Twins. Well, I just compared them to Buxton.
Do you believe the Timberwolves could win a championship with this club?
Well, if they beat Denver, yes. But I think they're probably underdogs to Denver. I didn't see the odds. What are they? Maybe probably 160, I guess.
Yeah,
that Denver's probably.
But the winner of that series is going to the finals. Seriously.
Yeah, it should go. I don't think anybody else can beat. I think they'll beat Oklahoma City. But they're underdogs, but they got a chance. But the trouble with Denver is they got a bear, an actual bear, playing center. Who can
Means
pass.
a real bear.
It's a trick bear. Jokic is like this monstrous.
He is big.
300-pound man who's a point guard, who who basically dribbles the ball up the court half the time, and he gets the ball and he waves it around.
Then he rides a unicycle.
Waves it around in one hand and waits for some guy to cut and throw the ball to him, or then he'll drive, and he drives like a bus, and then he gets 6 feet away, and if he gets cut off, he just stands flat-footed and tosses it in. It's the damnedest kind of basketball. I've never seen a team play this way.
The tip pass he made on a breakaway where Murray throws it over his shoulder. He's got two guys on him. He doesn't see the ball and just goes, whoop.
Did you see this play yesterday?
It's unbelievable.
They're on the fast break. And he's jogging
the
down
bear?
the court.
Lugging. He's lugging.
Down there, and they throw him the ball, and he just goes back like that layup. He's
perfect spot.
His instincts for passing the basketball are incredible. It's like he's like a 300-pound point guard.
Well, then what do you do when you have to play a trick bear?
Rudy will have to guard him. And
Rudy ain't no bear.
Rudy will get in foul trouble, and then I don't know what they'll do.
But he's honestly in the league. He's one of the best answers to him. He's the best defensive
but
center.
The trouble is, everybody thought Booker got all the calls. Jokic gets all the calls too.
Yeah.
So
you know who loves him?
And if he doesn't get the call, he's one of the. He'll complain as much as Booker.
He is beloved by Super 70 Sports.
Who is?
The Joker. Where he'll always post that photo of him at about 13 or 14 years old where he's, plotting.
Yeah.
And it says, would you ever imagine in your lifetime that the best player in the NBA would be this fat kid with the giant T words? He loves the Joker.
Well, I heard Charles last night saying, Charles said, he's the best basketball player in the world,
Yeah.
But he's so unique. I really don't know what the Wolves went out there like late in the season and beat them bloody, and then when they had to beat them again a second time to be the number one seed, they got beat by them. So they're definitely underdogs, but man, I don't think they're a cinch. You know what's really happened to them? In addition to Cat playing some of the smartest basketball I've ever seen him play, because he can do idiotic things. He wasn't running through people. He was great last night. But Jaden McDaniels has become a different player.
In the playoffs.
Wonderful.
He's 6'10".
Yep.
Speaking of Charles, we have to play this for the man.
Is this the dirty water?
Yes.
Oh, I love this.
Disappointed in New Orleans. Where they going, Chuck? Galveston. That dirty ass water. We're not even gonna sit in the Cancun. We're gonna sit in the Galveston where that dirty ass water be washing up on the shore. You people think they're in the beach. Y'all we gonna send y'all to Cancun. Y'all drive y'all quit. Drive your ass down to Galveston. Come on, man. Come on, they didn't even try, man. We're not getting them no plane ticket to the beach. We sitting there as to Galveston, Texas, right where that dirty water washed up on the beach. They can't even get in the water. Come on, man.
He was making fun of the Pelicans because they quit so bad. We ain't sending your ass to Cancun. We're sending your ass to Galveston with that dirty ass water. Oh, God,
he's funny. He had to quit the San Antonio women.
Because you're talking about the big girls.
Yeah,
but he still got to rip Texas.
Yeah, but for 10 years he did that as a joke, and then they finally told him to stop. He said every time somebody mentioned, they got the big girls out there, and he wouldn't shut up. Ernie's trying to get him to shut up, and he said,
I love the guy.
Oh, he is. He's fantastic.
Just a wonderful human being.
Yeah. Last night he was saluting the Timberwolves, but also saying this is a mediocre Suns team because they got no size and no depth, and that Denver's a whole different animal.
Did you hear a little speech he gave about Edwards, too, where he said, I love Edwards. He said, you get in front of me, I'm going to kill you. I like that. He said, I like that. Yeah, I like that about him.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, my God.
He is He is a different cat because I think nothing bothers him because he doesn't pay any attention to anything out of his little universe. You know, he got into trouble with the gay video. And what was that, 2 years ago?
That was
he's in the car and somehow he sent it out, right?
Yes.
Didn't he send it out or his people sent it out?
Somebody did, yeah.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, his people issue this articulate apology from him. And then, you know, most guys would be like, oh, you know, I got to be careful now. Just goes on with his life. And then the woman sends out the photo of the $100,000 check he gave her to have an abortion. And about a month later, he has a baby with another woman. And that doesn't, you know, he just goes about his life. He doesn't get mad at anybody.
Nope.
He just
I thought only Edwards wrote the check. Charles has written a check too?
No, he was talking
I'm
about
talking about
Edwards.
Edwards. I'm
I thought you were talking about
Ed-
Charles.
No, Charles is a different guy.
Yeah.
No, Charles is higher class, meaning when he got married, he was mad his wife stuck around because he couldn't go to the bleep club.
But he wanted to go to the strip club.
The strip club, yeah.
I was standing there and heard that one. I heard that one, and I was standing there, right? Hey, was that my... Hey, who is it? Phil. Phil from the Philadelphia
Phoenix paper? Or Philadelphia paper?
Phil Jensen. What was he? He worked for... Covered it. He was one of that NBA cult guy.
Sure.
He covered him for 30 years. He says, hey, Phil, is that my wife I saw out there? Is that my wife? Because he married her like Thursday. Yeah. He says, yeah, she's out there waiting for you. He says, damn, she was supposed to leave at halftime. I wanted to go to the bleep bar tonight. So we're all sitting around listening to him. That's the great thing about the NBA is that these guys are just, you know, they're not especially when it was a cult and it was, you know, they all knew every writer from every town. And Wicker always tells the story. I mean, the officials, they had about 25 officials, too. They didn't have hundreds of them like they do now. And Wicker always tells the story about Earl Strom. Remember Earl Strom? He refereed every game.
I remember the name.
He was Scott Foster before Scott Foster, but he'd referee all the big games. And Wicker, they were out in Portland, he said, where he was covering the 76ers. And it was December 23rd, and they had to get out on a plane that night. The Philly guys, they weren't going to get home for Christmas because December 24th was totally booked. And one of them said Earl was over on the sidelines, and they said, hey, Earl, this game can't go to overtime. We got to get this thing. He says, don't worry, boys, I'm on the same plane. And he said he called it, whoever was ahead in 2 minutes, they called 7 fouls on the other team to make sure that, you know, it was very culty now, but it's still, it is still unique. I'll tell you, it's different than every other place because the complaining to the officials, though, would drive me. I said the other night, watching when I was in the arena, I said, how could you stand this job? Because everybody's over there bitching on every call afterwards. So,
But outside of the NFL, it's the most popular, isn't it?
yeah, well, you see it. I mean, it's fun because it's, you know, it's.
Well, what's
goes
your
on
theory?
for-
Because it's
My theory is because
the object of play is always in play.
Yes,
the ball.
yeah, the ball, and every
but the
time
puck is always in play.
Yeah, but they score 8 times a game if they're lucky. But every time the ball goes over the timeline, you think something's going to happen. Right?
Then it's the clock. You got 25 seconds.
Yeah, I got 25 seconds, and you know that something's going to happen that's going to affect the outcome. And and the other thing is, you know, when I've said this before, when the Timberwolves played their first ever game at the Metrodome, the Chicago Bulls were here. The three-point play had been in existence for 10 years, and the Chicago Bulls took 1 three-pointer that night, Michael Jordan.
Really?
And the Lakers came 2 months later, and they took 2 three-pointers. Now they take 35, you know, so the score can change boom, 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 you know. I don't necessarily think it's a better game, but it's certainly leads are more precarious than they used to be. So, even
How many lead changes were there last night? About 30?
early, there were a lot of them until they finally pulled away a little bit.
Because the Wolves were down, 6 at half?
5.
5 at half.
Yeah, and then they kind of got a little bit ahead, and then they fell behind again by 1. Right? It was fun. It was fun, but it lasts 2 hours and 35 minutes. It lasted. I mean, there they go again to oversee whether there's 4.2 or 4.4 seconds left. Drives me crazy.
But you want to get rid of the tenths.
I want to get rid of the tenths. I want them to hand the ball to the guy and say, "Hey, there's 2 seconds left. You better catch and shoot here, boys."
Right.
I don't know how much time there's left either. So.
Twins 11, Los Angeles 5, and what was it Saturday night? 16?
16
They
to
had
5.
17 hits in 2 games in a row against Ron Washington's bullpen. Oh, do they have some bad pitchers?
That again, it proves. Last week you were saying C in Fort Myers.
Yeah, see me in Fort
It's
Myers.
too early to say C in Fort Myers.
They were hitting 195 as a team as we talked last Monday. Now they're hitting 238. When you have 17 hits 2 games in a row, it's. But we're going into a hornet's nest with the Whiteys.
They're hot.
The Whiteys just beat the Rays 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And so they doubled their victory total last weekend, and they gave something away, and Saturday they had like 28,000 people, but I would guess they'll have about 3,000 in there tonight.
A screaming mob of 3,000
tonight, but
White Sox giveaway. Let's see what it was.
I want you to describe. I want you 2 guys to figure out Pablo for me, though. Pablo has got a no-no for 14 batters. And 4 batters later, it's 5-4. What happened?
I can't describe that for you. I can't answer
batters.
that.
And then we have to hook him in his. I wonder if there's something going on.
Here's the thing, though.
His fastball went down.
He was, in fact, because I watched nearly all of the game yesterday. He had the catcher who, as LaTroy pointed out, boy, this kid's having a rough day behind the plate.
Yeah.
But he can hit a little bit. But he had him 0-2, and he got him out in front. He barely got a hold of it. Otherwise, he's perfect through 5. And he hooked it down the left field line. And then all of a sudden, he went from the stretch for the. I have a theory on that. A guy that's been perfect all day that hasn't thrown out of the stretch at all, for some reason, they get goofy when they've been pitching the whole day. And then in the 5th, they got to go to the stretch. It's just a different arm angle.
Well, I don't know.
Because he just got shelled.
Here's what I want to know, though, is what are you going to have to do to change your right fielder if you're with the Angels? That guy is the fat kid who used to get sent to right field.
But he was a big-time prospect, wasn't he?
But the ball is on the ground, and he looks like it's a hand grenade. It goes through him, and he played. They butchered, and Trout, by the way, he's not moving around either in center field. They played like 4 balls into doubles and triples.
Trout strikes me as he's a guy that knows this team is terrible, and he's trying not to get hurt.
Yeah.
I heard a great line. You see the ball dropping those Angel outfielders, 3 of them.
Yeah.
Where is the alpha male there?
I heard that too. That's a great point. Yes.
Yeah,
But maybe it was
Provis.
Provis
said
Where
that.
is the alpha male here? Somebody take charge.
Yep.
Yes.
Because it's not going to be Aaron Hicks who was playing center field yesterday.
My God, how many teams has he been on?
This is number 5.
Did he go from the Twins to the Yankees?
The Yankees let him go last year, and then he went to Baltimore and played pretty good for a couple of months, but he's hitting 140
He's
there.
not doing well.
He's.
I didn't know this until yesterday. When he was drafted, there were people that wanted him to pitch. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he was But deep in his heart, he wanted to play golf, so he would rather be a golfer. He was like a +2 handicap kid as a high schooler.
Yeah, well, you know why we know that? We might have been the first to ever interview him.
That's right.
At
Twins Fest.
Twins Fest.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
That's sitting in that dump, and they brought Hicks over.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go.
We're at Twins.
The home of the Minnesota
What a
Twins.
dump.
Yes. Suits outside. Look at this dump. That's our greatest advertisement since we told Puke and Snot they weren't funny.
Yeah.
And I look over at St. Peter's going, oh, Christ.
I couldn't help it.
St. Peter probably didn't disagree with you, but just didn't want to say that publicly.
Look at this. Look at these people running into this dump.
It's terrible.
I have your giveaway. The White Sox played the Rays. April 27th was hockey sweater giveaway.
So they took
You can't
advantage
wear
of
a sweater to a bad hockey club.
No, but it's the White Sox logo and stuff on
Oh,
a
but it's a
hockey
hockey sweater.
It looks really cool. If I was a Sox fan, and I know that there's a few of those, I would have gone to that game just to get that sweater. That's pretty cool.
Really? I know.
Well,
Come
good
on.
for you. Good for you.
Look at that.
I'm not.
That's good. That's good. Now,
Here we go.
we did get you the poster that the
Oh,
Star
yes.
Tribune
Thank
had.
you. Thank you.
I brought him one.
The poster of
me
Anthony
see it.
Edwards.
Hold
Although
on.
I wouldn't
Look at
call
that
it,
right there.
It's not that much of a poster. 'cause
It's
a
not much of a poster.
Posters to me are postcards. But Reavers, you're probably too young to remember the greatest sports-oriented promotion in Twins history. They had the very successful Homer hanky.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Vikings were doing well.
What year are we talking?
We're
87
talking
for Homer hanky.
No, I know
88,
that, but the promotion you're
88,
talking about.
I think 88, maybe 89. The Viking vest.
I don't recall
they
that.
had the Viking vest. It was a full page of paper.
Oh,
There was
yes.
the purple vest.
cut it out.
You cut out the head.
Yeah.
And then you put this paper vest on.
Really?
Yeah.
And the night they were doing it, the day they were doing it, it was raining outside. So if you put on your purple vest,
It was paper
you
mache.
put on your paper. You put on your purple vest.
It disintegrated.
You would come in and you'd be all purple, and then. Also, you had to cut it out and put it over your head. And if you were bigger than a munchkin, you couldn't get it over your head. The Viking victory vest, and then the people would be coming in, and they'd walk in, and one out of every 100 had his Viking victory vest on. And then he looked around and saw nobody else was wearing the Viking victory vest, and they crunched it up. And
They weren't hard
were-
to get off.
Those were the days. Those were the days when you could make fun of your newspaper. And I wrote a column about the Viking.
You
victory.
did not. I gotta find this.
Yes, I did. Some 88 or so. There were a lot of shots taken at the Viking victory vest.
Pricey, the
You could
Vikings
not
vest.
today, if we came up with a Viking, if we made fun of the ant poster, that would not go over well. So.
Did you write a repeat? Because this is coming up 5 moments in Viking history that left me bug-eyed. I'm seeing the Vikings vest in 2018. Would it have been an
I
anniversary?
probably just went back. When was it?
Well, this is dated January 18th,
Yes, but
2018.
read what it says about the Viking victory.
I'm going to
vest.
see if I can pull this up. Give me a moment while
I haven't talked to you since the draft.
We did very well.
Did we?
I like the quarterback, and I love the defensive end from
Turner?
Turner. I saw about 40 plays of Alabama this year, and he made about 9 tackles. He was a monster.
Is McCarthy is he the guy?
I think so. I think he's, a lot of people like him. The thing about Michigan is he didn't have to throw the ball all over the place. They were on the ball a lot. But, yeah, I think he's, he'll be fine. Didn't come up, huh? Was it one
No,
at the end?
it pulled up a different article from you.
Okay.
I'll try to find it, though, before we're done
No,
here.
the Viking victory vest was the greatest.
Don't we have to pause?
Not today. We're
not pausing?
We just
No
need
pause
we
today.
just need him to do Valley before we're completed today.
I
Okay,
see.
we don't have to. So how did we decide when we pause?
Because it depends on the number of ads. My God, there's a lot of Viking vests for sale on various websites. I don't want that.
These were the paper mache
Right.
Star Tribune Viking victory vest. I think that was that probably had to be another Terry Robbins promotion because her hankies were so successful that we decided we had to do something for the Vikings.
Who at the paper came up with a hanky?
Terry Robbins.
What-
Arnie, our sports editor, his wife.
Yeah.
She was the promotions person. She
Oh, I
came
didn't
up
know
with
that.
the hanky. Yeah.
So you think this was mid
Every
80s? You said,
time I
Patrick?
see her, I don't see her much, but I saw her last summer. She was back up here for something, and I told her, "You ruined postseason baseball." You know
She
that.
turned it white.
If second inning, You're sitting there, you're relaxed, it's nothing to nothing. Some guy gets 2 strikes on him, and everybody in the damn stadium has to stand up and wave this rag. You know.
As I pause the search for the Viking Vest article, can I give my tirade to Patrick that I had on Garage Logic earlier about the Twins?
Sure.
What?
You saw the game yesterday.
Yes.
I have one question for the Minnesota Twins. What the hell is wrong with our summer sausage? Why do we have to go to North Dakota to go get summer sausage?
Very fired up about
They
this.
should have got a Pecarna sausage.
Or Grunhoffers.
Grunhofer.
Come on here.
Yes, Grunhoffers, too.
What's wrong with our summer
I
sausage?
don't know. That's right. Just like when we brought in Colorado grass. What was wrong with our grass?
See?
You know?
Yep.
That's
He
right.
gets it.
By the way, how long can one of those? I know they last for a while, but how
Well,
long?
they're gonna
can
as long as
this is the dumbest thing I've ever
of
heard.
course it is. It's going to turn rancid.
And Paul Daly said, "I'm not touching that damn thing." You know,
If you're a major league hitter,
he's got kids at home.
Are you going to touch the sausage?
No, I'm not.
No,
gonna-
either am I.
You get grease on your
Yes.
hands. The bat goes
Flying into the stands.
Yeah,
Then your hands stink.
Somebody gets killed. They sue you and the sausage
That's right.
company. What the hell? This is the dumbest thing. I would not, if I had been covering and they told me about the sausage, the editors could have called me and said, "You got to write about the sausage." I said, "No, I'm not writing about the sausage.
pass.
I'm not writing.
I'm
about
not
the
doing the
sausage.
sausage.
Not doing the sausage. I'm glad the fishing vest is. I wish the whole deal.
Do you
'cause-
realize now every team has some version of that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
What
here's
is the deal with
It's-
that?
Okay, if somebody hits one over the fence to win the game, then okay, do something. But this idea you're behind 14-2 and somebody hits a home run, you're supposed to, you're supposed to.
Out of
celebrate.
class at that point, you wouldn't do anything.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I'm not big on the sausage.
Does the NBA have a version of the fishing vest?
Not to my knowledge.
No.
They got.
And they have no post-series ritual either, where the hockey guys at least shake each
Shake
other's
hands.
hands.
Yeah.
In basketball, they just
kinda
mill around,
mingle,
hug
they
each
make it-
other.
Yeah, they good. Like the Phoenix, there wasn't much inter-team hugging going on
No,
last
I
night,
don't think
was there?
so, no.
Booker and Towns are supposed to be big buddies.
You know what Baltimore has when they hit a home run?
What?
They got the bird bath.
They do. Does some drunk go in the bird bath? What happens
what do they
there?
do?
They got
They
the guy,
spray-
he's
they
in left
spray-
field, and they call that the what do they call that area? The bird something.
But
And
does he go into a bath?
Oh, he's got the jetpack that squirts the water on all the fans, so they're all part of the bird bath, you see.
But they also do something in the dugout.
Yeah, so the players then, this started
Spray
last
the
year.
fans?
No, the guys now all have the bird feeder, like the big tube so you can drink out of the.
Jeez. What the hell?
I'll tell you what, they're good, boy.
What's wrong
Yeah,
with them?
Baltimore's are good.
They are good. That team's good.
They're so good, they just sent down the #1 prospect in baseball.
because he didn't have he was batting zero.
Right.
He was rushed.
Yes, he
because
was.
the public wanted him. So Holiday's kid, too. So.
The bird
Anyway,
bath.
yes, they're packing them in too. They've had some bad weekday crowds, but
Where do you rank that ballpark? We were going to ask you a couple weeks ago.
changed ballparks forever? So I think it's great.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what they've done to it. They've improved it to some extent. But
It's over 30 years old, right? 92, right?
I think 92. Yeah, the White Sox ballpark is the last one built old style. With the kind of the circle and. Then this one came along, and we said,
The White
"What the
Sox
hell
Park is
this?"
too steep. It's too steep.
Yeah, but that's all right.
When are they going to
With
get rid of
this-
that dump in Boston?
Right.
What a pathetic place. It's just a rat-infested dump.
And by the way, you're a normal-sized human. You should be there with a fat ass on you sometimes, trying
They
to
got the
sit
narrow seats?
Sit in the seats. They got the seats from World War I.
Yeah.
People didn't have food then. They ate potato peels.
People were thinner.
malnourished, honey. You're in section
What's for
103.
dinner for a family of 5? A potato. That's all you got. That's all we got is a potato. We're going to boil a potato for the whole crew of you. Now we got, they got thousands of restaurants and, we got takeout. Now we got Now we got somebody to bring us food if we
Build
want
a
it.
new stadium and bring some part of that dump with you to celebrate
Yes,
it.
that's right. Put the wall in.
Put the green wall up or something,
Yeah,
but
put the
get rid of
wall.
that rat hole.
Because JetBlue in Fort Myers is great. I love that ballpark. Because didn't they build it to basically replicate Fenway?
They're amazing, though. All their players are hurt, and they don't have any of their pitchers, and they're winning games. You know? But yeah, everybody, the magic of Fenway. And I like watching a game in there because of the wall and the geometry, but that's because I'm sitting up in the press box. When I went with my kids, we sat in seats up beyond home plate. I had to sit on a corner of a seat the whole damn time.
That's no good.
No.
In hockey, Boston is up 3-1 over Toronto.
Yes.
And the Leafs are they're internally feuding
Again?
and it's not a
Isn't
good
Matthews
scene.
not playing because he's hurt or
I
something?
think he
He's
played.
sick or
I think he
something?
played
finally
Saturday. He played Saturday. Boston beats them at home.
Who are we mad at? The coach?
They don't. They're mad at each other. The Leafs are mad at each other for
no.
that shooting.
Dissension?
There's dissension.
Oh, no.
Okay.
And I'm a
And
Leafs
the
fan.
Toronto hockey writers will expose that.
Oh God, yes. The announcers couldn't help but talk about it.
Okay, it was so bad.
There's dissension, and they play at Boston tonight. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sorry, they're at Boston tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if Boston wraps it up tomorrow.
Did you see, I forget, there's a big-time, well-known, Patrick might know the name, Boston sports fan that said, we now would like to present Toronto with, they got the guys in the white gloves, like they'd be carrying out the cup, and it was a Toronto Maple Leafs golf bag.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah,
It was very funny.
yeah, it was pretty good.
So in other words, they could have used former Minnesota Pipers coach Gus Young to stand in front of the locker room door and not let people in. You can't come in here. There's dissension in here.
Yeah.
He told the reporter. Connie Hawkins and that crew.
How do you like the Panthers? Up 3-1 over Tampa.
They
got a nice
get
club.
feisty at playoff time,
Yeah.
don't they? Hurricanes-
Colorado's got a nice club.
Isn't it great to see all these vibrant hockey markets? Carolina,
Oh yeah,
Florida,
Vegas.
about
Comes
ready
the
to go
cheap
to the
shot.
semifinals. Yeah, Vegas. I keep putting in there. Those long-suffering
Florida.
Vegas fans
Yeah.
finally won a cup last year. And you can tell very few people get, when they start reading, they don't get very far, in the modern time because, when you bury that cheap shot in 7th or 8th paragraph, you should get people agitated. But
You gotta put it higher.
I think you almost have to lead.
Almost the lead. I
Yeah,
think.
you got to put it in the first.
Well, you
graph.
bury too many leads.
I do. But
It's my specialty.
that's
My special.
I ain't changing now. I'm 100. So
Hey, you know what? 100 ain't what it used to
no,
be.
it ain't. Nor is a billion.
Yeah.
Oh, email. This I think was from Mike. I forgot to bring this up before you guys moved on from baseball. He wanted to know about the Clevelands. He refuses, like me, to call them the Guardians. Patrick, how are they doing it? Who he play for? I don't know any of these guys. The Clevelands. They're 19-9.
They put the ball in play and they're pitching good. Even though Bieber, their best pitcher,
Aren't two of their guys hurt?
out for the season.
Because the other guy got hurt here, right? Well, I thought there was another guy that got
Another
hurt.
Chucker, I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't know how they're doing, but they won't maintain it. But yesterday, before Detroit lost to Kansas City lost to Detroit, if the playoffs had started today, the AL Central would have 3 of the 6 teams
Wow.
in the American League playoffs. We wouldn't be
And
one.
we would not be one of them.
No, but Cleveland, Kansas City, and Detroit. I told you Kansas City was going to be
They got a
vastly
good pitching
improved.
staff.
They
Kansas
do,
City.
and they got Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt, MVP candidate.
Yep.
He's great. But they were 56 and 106 last year, so it's easy to estimate that they're a little thin.
I like when the Royals are good, though, because that's a hell of a baseball town. I like when the Royals are good.
So somehow I got to feel like the Chiefs kind of got an advantage on them popularity-wise.
They might.
How about the taxpayers of that county?
Saying no, thank you.
To a new Kansas
Emphatically
City Chiefs
to a new
stadium?
Arrowhead Stadium, yeah. And
But
they
it
were gonna-
wasn't a new tax. It was to extend the existing tax.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It wasn't a brand new tax. This
No,
was,
and then it
can we
got-
just continue this? And they would have had a brand new arena.
Got beat overwhelmingly, too,
Yep,
right?
wasn't
and
even
now
close.
Kansas the other side of the border
Really?
is trying to say, come on over here, we'll build you a stadium.
We're moving to Leavenworth.
Yeah,
or whatever.
we're moving right across the river.
Isn't that West Kansas City or something? What's it called?
Yeah, but it's
right
I think
there.
North
It's
Kansas.
you got a border.
went way back when I was there for the St. Cloud Times when the Huskies were playing in the NAIA tournament. They, when was the St. Cloud Times reached into its vault and flew me down to Kansas City. I was 20, by the way, at that time. But after they lost, I believe they might have lost on a Friday, so I didn't have to write much for Saturday. But the two team stars, Tom Diddy and Terry Porter, and I got in a cab and went to the North Kansas City where the bars didn't close till 4 in the morning.
There we go.
I got the inside scoop from the boys and then went back and cranked out the story with I had about a .23 alcohol rate. So, but we didn't drive it. We took a cab.
Nice.
So, yes, but those guys always got good pub from me because I drank with them.
I know your pitcher. I gave up about 15 runs. What?
Yeah. If they asked for an ID, I'd say, because I think they were both a year older than me.
Okay.
If I wasn't mistaken. So.
That's
Anyway,
enough.
That's enough.
Well, I was just going to say, if Joe covered the new, if Kansas City does move, he'd cross the river twice to go to that game, wouldn't you, Such? Mm-hmm. Oh, he's not listening anymore.
Okay.
I need to hear about the Valley Group of GM dealers.
The Valley Group of GM dealers have the fully stocked new cars right now. It wasn't that way a couple years ago when we were going through the pandemic and we had we had the chip problem.
Yes.
We had all these problems.
We
We
were
don't have
short
any
on
of those
those.
problems anymore. Every one of the GMC vehicles that are extremely popular are now available at Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. The Yukons. You want a Yukon to put an entire hockey team in the vehicle? You can get one of those. I got the EV Hummer, for goodness sakes. I see Such in one of those eventually. And also the big heavy-duty trucks, all of those. Interest rates, 0.9%, 1.9%. Factory rebates, they're priced to move, and the interest rates are fantastic. Apple Valley, my guys out there, I've the last 10, 12 years, I bought all my vehicles there. Reavers has done business with them. And also in Hastings, fully stocked with new vehicles and used vehicles. Take a look. Good time to buy a car because the interest rates are great.